Why develop pieces instead of pushing pawns early? Have you ever wondered why developing pieces is often favored over pushing pawns too early in chess? This question is fundamental for players looking to improve their game. Let's break it down. First, when you develop your pieces, you enhance their mobility and coordination. Knights, bishops, and rooks thrive on active squares. By placing them in the center early, you gain control over important areas of the board. In contrast, pawns, once moved, cannot go back. If you push them too soon, you might create weaknesses while your pieces remain inactive. Next, consider central control. Pieces can dominate the center more effectively than pawns. For example, placing a knight on f3 or c3 for white, or f6 or c6 for black, supports your central pawns and threatens your opponent's position. If you extend your pawns without the support of your pieces, you risk leaving gaps that your opponent can exploit. Another point to think about is tempo and initiative. Each pawn move that does not threaten an opponent's piece can lead to a loss of tempo. By developing your pieces efficiently, you avoid wasting moves. This allows you to castle quickly and prepare for your mid-game strategies. Pushing pawns too early can also create weaknesses. For instance, advancing a pawn to h3 or a 3 without a clear purpose can weaken the squares behind them. A pawn on e4 may control d5, but if it is not supported by a knight or bishop, it can leave d4 vulnerable. Pieces can defend these squares dynamically, while pawns cannot adjust once they are advanced. Moreover, pushing pawns too early can lead to structural weaknesses, such as isolated or doubled pawns. These weaknesses become long-term targets for your opponent, forcing your pieces into defensive roles instead of allowing them to play actively. So what are some practical applications? First, avoid overextending your pawns. Limit your pawn moves to those that support piece activity, like advancing to d4 or e4 to open up diagonals for your bishops. Second, prioritize castling. Develop your minor pieces first so you can castle quickly, which protects your king and connects your rooks. Lastly, if your opponent overextends their pawns, target the weak squares with well-placed knights or bishops. This topic also connects to common blunders in chess. Pushing pawns too early is a frequent mistake because it neglects development. This allows your opponent to seize the initiative. For example, advancing the f-pawn prematurely can weaken your king's position. Moving flank pawns without a purpose wastes time that could be better spent activating your rooks. Understanding these concepts can significantly improve your chess game. By focusing on developing your pieces, you maintain flexibility, reduce vulnerabilities, and prepare for strategic plans in the mid-game. Remember, premature pawn moves often lead to rigid positions that can be easily exploited.